This meeting.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pearl City Neighborhood Board number 21. We're here at Momilani Community Center, and today is May 26th, 2026, 7 o'clock. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their evening schedules with their family and also getting out of work and fighting the traffic to get here. I'm Larry Veray. I'm chair of the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, and my vice chair, Charmaine Durant, she's virtual right now, backing me up in this chair position. We also have Melissa Urbio, who's from the Neighborhood Commission Office. She'll be assisting me and advising me, keeping things rolling tonight. And she has a trainee, his first time facilitating and mentoring for a neighborhood board, Braxton Cristobal. And welcome, Braxton. And we'll proceed here. I'm going to start off with rules for speaking. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to open up the list of participants and click the raise hand icon, those that are virtual. And when recognized by the chair, address comments directly to the chair. Your remarks should not exceed more than 3 minutes. Please cancel the raise hand sign after speaking. Presentations must be kept under 5 minutes. Please silence your cell phones. The chat box can also be used for questions. Board members are required to keep their video active during the board meeting. The board may take action on any agenda item as required by the state sunshine law. Specific issues not noted on this agenda cannot be voted on unless added to the agenda. Board actions such as draft resolutions and outgoing letters will be posted for the public on Google Drive. Okay, starting off, could everybody please rise? We've got Cub Scout Pack 75 here with Scott Ozawa, ready to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we give him a microphone?
Republic.
One nation under God, indivisible, and liberty just for all.
All right, we good, Scott?
Thank you very much.
I want to thank all our Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, and the Brownies yesterday. Yesterday for Memorial Day, you saw on TV news, most of them were out. Had over the weekend, place lay on a lot of our veterans' graves, and big thanks to them. Okay, moving on. Let's do a roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Test. Member Wong.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair Duran.
Here.
Thank you. Member Dubio.
Here.
Thank you. Member Inoue. Thank you. Member Smith. Thank you. Member Takeuchi. I don't see him at the moment. Member Taylor. Also don't see him. Member Velasco.
Here.
Thank you, Chair Veray. Thank you, Member Weber. Thank you, and Member Yamato. Thank you. Chair, you have 9 members present, quorum established.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, hopefully everybody signed in when they came in, so we've got a record here of everybody that was in attendance. And for board members, what I'd like to do, with your approval, I would like to move up on the agenda our wildfire mitigation presentation by Rhea Olson and move that up under community concerns. Are there any objections? Hearing none. Okay, we're moving that location. Okay, next up are our emergency responders. We got the Honolulu Fire Department. And welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Paulo with Waiau Fire Station. A report for April 2026 for statistics in the area would be one nuisance call, 2 structure fires, 0 wildland and brush fires, 1 cooking fire, and 12 activated alarms with no fire. Emergencies include medical would be 117, motor vehicle collisions with pedestrians 2, motor vehicle crashes 3, mountain rescues 1, ocean rescues 0, and hazardous materials calls 1. The fire safety tip for May would be wildfire prevention and preparedness. Hawaii is entering a period of increased wildfire risk with dry conditions, tall grass, and shifting winds. One spark is all it takes. Most wildfires are human-caused and preventable. Take action today with these tips. Clear dry brush and vegetation around your home. Never park on dry grass. Hot exhaust can ignite grass. Avoid activities that create sparks or heat during dry, hot, windy weather. Stay aware of weather and fire conditions. For more information, visit fire.honolulu.gov and hawaiiwildfire.org. You guys have any questions for me?
Okay, board members, any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department? Go ahead, Heidi.
Just a quick question. You said you're from Waiau. Does
Yeah.
the report cover both Waiau and the Pearl City Station? Or is it the numbers for just one or the other?
I believe if you have, that would be in the entire area.
City,
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Anybody online? No question, no questions? Anything from the community? None? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good
And
day.
we're going to heed your warning on wildfire prevention. So everybody cut their grass. Okay, moving on to the Honolulu Police Department.
Lieutenant Keone Hong from Pro City.
Welcome,
Going over the
Lieutenant.
stats for April. Hi. Going over the stats for April compared to March. Motor vehicle thefts, April, there were 14. March, there were 8. Burglaries, 2 in April, 0 in March. Thefts, 27 compared to 22. And car break-ins, there were 5 in April compared to 7 in March. Total calls for service in April was 1,453 compared to 1,420. I just looked, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but looking at the notes, the topics were the speed trailer. So just letting you know, the speed trailer as of May 22nd is parked near Pro City District Park on Ho'omai Street. Normally it sits for 2 weeks, so it'll probably be there until beginning of that Pro City Gateway. So an update with that, security has been a lot more proactive in trying to break up the groups and have them move along if they have no business at the shopping center. So they've been calling us more often if the parties don't want to move along. But also, one thing that was brought up to my attention was because Fun Factory is there, it's more brightly lit. So I think if the management there would increase the lighting in the parking lot, it would deter a lot of the groups from hanging out because it seems they try to hang out in the darker pockets of the parking lot. But if there are any questions, I'm available to answer them at this time.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Board members? Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, and does that, I've seen that speed warning. Does it collect statistics also?
That one, I don't think it has like running data. It's more of a deterrent.
Okay, thank you.
Board members, any other questions?
And double check though. Yeah.
Okay, anybody online? Okay, Lieutenant, I got one thing. On Thursday, I had a report from a resident of suspicious activity in the Sunset Memorial Park Cemetery. The individual saw that one of the crypts had been broken into, one of the vaults, and what was exposed was a full coffin, and it was a lady's coffin. And we had at that time when I was looking at it, we had an accident that happened on 3rd Street. So there was a police officer there, and I had approached him to let him know that we're monitoring the cemetery, because usually what happens is when they break the doors off the crypts, the next thing is they pull the coffin out, they open it up, and they steal jewelry. off the bodies. So we were lucky that one of our military veterans, he immediately went to Home Depot, picked up plywood, and he went ahead and resealed the vault. But I just want to ask that if you could, in your patrols, nobody is supposed to be in that cemetery after 7 o'clock. I still got
Yes.
a problem with a gentleman who is the prime suspect that has stolen over 100 bronze plates off of headstones, urns out of the Japanese niches. I've got 11 of them that I confiscated during one of his operations. And he is still, even though we've trespassed him and you guys put him in jail already, because I personally trespassed him, he still is returning. So if you guys can at least take action when you see somebody in there after 7 o'clock at night. They seem to be going in, they're having their beer parties, drug activities, all that. Because I catch them in there and I've got one of those, the brightest spotlight you could ever have in my PA system. And I let them know HPD's on the way and they usually leave. And I usually call you guys right after that. So that way they see the blue light come through the Pearl City Business Plaza. And oh, by the way, that area of Pearl City for years has been a really bad location. I asked Lieutenant Iwasaki to do a study, a survey for me. And I asked him, how many police reports do you got on the Pearl City Business Plaza since January? 153. Does that tell you something?
Yeah.
So
Active.
my focus, neighborhood security watch kind of guy, I'm going to be doing a lot of focus and I'm going to try to get a hold of the owners and let them know that they got to start cleaning up that area because that's the problem with the cemetery. They're gathering there. But that's all I got, Lieutenant. We can get your help.
Yes, will do. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none? Rodney, it looks like you're thinking. Got your hand on the draw, ready to shoot. All right. Thank you, Lieutenant.
All right.
And I hope you
Thank
had a
you.
good police week from the Pearl City Community
Oh, yeah.
Association.
Thank you for the snacks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
Tony's up there. Tony was there. Okay. All right, moving on. This is for community concerns. Is anybody here that wants to bring up any problems that they have? Because this board right here, we do care about our 43,000 residents and 5,000 deceased in the cemetery. Okay, to hearing none. Okay, we're going to move on. Go ahead. Please come up to the microphone, identify yourself.
My name is Piper Weaver. I'm a resident here in Pearl City, and my family, I used to go to school at Pearl City Highlands Elementary, and I live close enough in walking distance, so I've been walking since I was in kindergarten. And recently, when I walked down to the school, I do not go there anymore, but I was walking down for a thing with my brother. I noticed that the crosswalk where Ho'oma'imai Street intersects Waimano Home Road is entirely gone. You can't see it anymore. You can't see even faintly near the sidewalks a little bit, but the crosswalk is entirely gone otherwise. And I was requesting that maybe you could repaint it because I know that a lot of children in my neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods do walk down to the school, and there's the Pearl City District Park right next to it and the the middle school there as well.
So Piper, you're the first as a young person to come in to this board to give this type of very good presentation and concern. So I'm going to ask, can you put those words in writing for me? Put it on a little memo and you sign on the bottom of it. And what we'll do as a Pearl City Neighborhood Board, we'll look at endorsing it and we'll get that up to the Department of Transportation Services. Because if anything's going to get their attention, it's going to be your testimony. And we'll get it to Mr. Urbano too. Okay, well, thank you very much. And we do care. We know we got a lot of faded crosswalks in Pearl City that need adjustment. Okay, and you can't ask for a question. Sunshine law. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Any other concerns? Okay, moving on to our presentation. Okay, I'd like to introduce Raya Olson, and she is from Oahu Grazers. and we're going to talk about wildfire mitigation using low-cost technology.
All right, aloha. My name is Raya Olson. I'm here with Oahu
Right,
from-
would you rather sit down because why don't you come over here?
I'll just put it down here in a second.
Okay.
I was invited here to talk about what we do as a company. We do a lot of vegetation management with our sheep and goats. And so I have a presentation. I decided to make a video. So it's a video with a lot of information. There are some things on the screens with the highlights of the section. So if you have questions about what the section's about, you can maybe take notes on that and ask me afterwards. Okay, so just, it is a lot of information. All right, and I'm just going to share. Wait, I gotta do menu. Well, how come? Shucks, we should have tried.
While she's setting up, one of the things that I was looking at for an opportunity in Pearl City is Sunset Memorial Park Cemetery has their Mauka side with a lot of overgrown grass, and it'd be a perfect location to do a test run with their goats. Put them in there for 2 weeks, and could have a clean part of the cemetery there. Unfortunately, I think I'll have resident complaints because there are 35 feral cats that are there. And I don't think dogs, goats, and cats can all live together. So I can predict my complaints I'm going to have from the residents on 3rd Street and 4th Street and the Pearl City Community Church.
Yeah, but it'll be a sight to see. When the last time you seen sheep in Pearl City?
Yeah, we're having a little technical problem for those virtual right now, trying to get the audio to work. Okay, if you guys need more time, I'll bring the officials up. We'll get through them.
Maybe it's not.
What do you think?
Does she have audio on her presentation?
Yeah, she's showing a video.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our officials, because again, I wanted this to be a less than 2-hour meeting today. So we're gonna start off with our city officials, and we are honored here to have our mayor's representative, Mr. Gene Albano, Director of Facilities Maintenance, and also he's a neighbor, Pearl City resident. Welcome, Gene.
Good afternoon, Chair, Neighborhood Board. Gene Albano, Director, Chief Engineer, Department of Facility Maintenance. I'm here to report on the mayor's updates. Oahu Food System Draft Plan open for public comment. The mayor's Office of Climate Change and Sustainability and Resiliency has released the draft of the first ever Oahu Food Systems Plan, a strategic implementation focused action plan that defines the city's role in Oahu's food system over the next 5 years. It outlines over 70 actions from the city to improve how food is produced, distributed, accessed, and disposed of while supporting the health of our communities, economy, and environment. Share your mana'o by June 30, 2026. The review of the draft plan, please visit food systems plan. City continues response to Kona Low storm recovery. City and County of Honolulu continues cleanup and recovery efforts with the community, state, and federal partners following 3 consecutive severe weather systems, including multiple Kona Low storms that brought significant flooding to all parts of the island. To provide a consistent and reliable source of information, the city has launched a recovery website at oneoahu.org, where residents can find information on reporting home damage, health and safety tips, available assistance, and ways to support impacted communities. Cleanup operations remain ongoing across Oahu, particularly on the North Shore, with dozens of debris removal and hauling resources deployed, including dump trucks, heavy machinery, and dumpsters. Storm debris may be taken to city transfer stations and convenience centers, which are open daily from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., with H-Power accepting commercial, municipal solid waste, and Waimanalo Gulch accepting residential construction debris such as dirt, rock, and concrete. Additionally, the previously planned mayor town hall meetings have been indefinitely postponed as the administration and departments focus on efforts on addressing the damage from these Kona Low storms and focus on mitigating the impacts of any oncoming storms. From the mayor's newsletter, Oahu recovers from catastrophic storms. Mayor town halls postponed. Mayor delivers his 2026 State of the City address. Honolulu Zoo earns prestigious associations of zoos and aquariums accreditation. City expands housing options in Chinatown. 2026 Annual Sustainability Report released. Deputy Director Trisha Dang joins the Office of Climate Change Sustainability and Resiliency. All of this can be found at www.honolulu.gov/mayor/newsletter. Last month, there were 2 items that were brought up. Member Awong requested improved signage or conversion to a 4-way stop at the roundabout by Managers Drive Road. DTS's response: previously studied the intersection and found that an always stop was not warranted. However, the current interim roundabout was installed to improve traffic operations in the area. DTS will conduct a site investigation to assess the existing signage in the area. If necessary, a work order will be issued to maintain signage at the intersection. Please be advised that a full roundabout with concrete islands is currently being designed for the intersection. Another one that was brought up by Member Wong raised concerns about the removal of a crosswalk near Manana Park. Mr. Wong requested that the previously removed crosswalk be reinstated because the nearest crosswalk from that location is not until the Pearl City Police Station. DTS previously conducted a crosswalk warrant study for the crosswalks along Waimanalo Home Road. The study found that the minimum pedestrian volumes to warrant a crosswalk at Wahinani Street was not met. As such, the crosswalk at Wahinani Street was consolidated with a crosswalk at Nanakai Street. Under DTS traffic engineering devices at various locations project, the Nanakai crosswalk will be relocated to the signalized intersection at Honolulu Road. A paved path will also be installed on the eastern side of the Waimanalo Home Road between Nanakai Street and Moanalua Road. Please be advised that pedestrians may legally cross Waimanu Home Road at Wahinani Street. In addition, there's another marked crossing along Waimanalo Home Road at Ho'omalu Street prior to the Pro City Police Station. So that ends my report, and I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Okay, Guy, go ahead.
You know the last cornerstone that we have, not the one that was pretty devastating, but the second one. I noticed that the river fronting the children's house and the Word Community Church could see the water level was pretty high. So I would say that that water level is not less than 4 feet high, which is kind of scary. And then I did see that side kind of waterfall again. Not sure where that's coming from, but I only see it when we have devastating rain. So I guess the thing is that funny that I didn't see it at the first corner low, but it came on the second one. So I was wondering if debris came down, kind of, backed up that area.
I would surmise that the reason why there was more flow during the second Kona low was because of the saturation of the grounds. It just could not take more water such that it then provided more runoff. And that's why you got more flow into the waterway system.
Okay. So, when we have the opportunity now, because, we're kind of in a dry season, if we can ensure that vegetation under the bridge area is taken care of.
We recognize that that is now our priority as we get into the summer, as we understand that that becomes a fuel source for potential fires.
Right. So if we can have a
that's being
report
addressed.
in the, I don't know, in as soon as possible, I guess, before we get something crazy again.
Understood.
Thank you.
Member Inoue.
Okay, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Director, thank you for your report. A couple months back, maybe 2 months back, you responded to us in email and in the meeting about a KEPA near the Palisades Elementary School and the overgrown culverts and trees. And so I wanted to follow up on that since a part of the tree fell on Friday. And so the residents want to know what the status of cleaning that area is. It is really, really overgrown. And it is pretty dangerous. And the kids, who are almost done school, but they walk along that area, which has a lot of overhanging trees. So if you could follow up on that and then let us know so we can share with the community. The other thing is we have a request for a sidewalk, which has been ongoing for the Manana Neighborhood Board, and I'll forward that to you. And I think we have in the past, if you could share a response so we can share with the residents. And if it's possible, would you be able to send us an email response on all the wonderful information that you provided about crosswalks and roundabouts and all of that so that we can keep track of it?
I will see if that it can be made available. With regards to KEPA, that is being led by Parks and Recreation, and we are waiting for them to maintain those overgrowth, and then we will follow up with the removal of the vegetation. But I will make a correspondence with the directors at DPR and see if they can make that a priority. We have it on record on email, so I will use that as encouragement for follow-up.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Okay,
Yeah.
Rodney.
Hey, G.
That's
Go
it.
ahead. Two questions. Is, with the Konalos and now we're into the wildfire season, it seems like we have two important seasons. Are you guys going to take a proactive approach during the wildfire season and then when the forthcoming, flooding season? And the second question is, on the skyline, the crosswalk over there on Kamehameha Highway, they have a lighting system over there. I think there needs to be a little bit better signage because a lot of the pedestrians do not push the button. Letting everybody know that they're going to cross. And it's similar to the one that they used to have down at HPU, down on by Cam Highway, by the college over there in Conway where they got run off. I mean, not to be mean or anything, but I seen they went to the Mark mentality again. Just walk. I had to stick my head out and let them know, hey, press the button. So maybe a little bit bigger sign.
I will advise DTS accordingly.
Okay, Rodney, that was good. And one thing that what he had said about that crossing over there by the train station, I had one of the disabled blind contact me, and the tone is not working at that side. Okay, Guy, go ahead.
So Director Albano, just want to give kudos to the city workers because they restriped the Auhuhu Street down by Akepa Street. So it looks nice and it's more definitive because people kind of rip around that turn, so it's quite dangerous.
I do want to address the miss, her concern earlier. So we'll certainly take care of that concern.
Okay, and lastly, if we go back to where you talked about earlier of looking at setting up some type of engagement plan to clear out the Waiava stream bridge area by the bike trail. Please let me know if you need some help with that because we might be able to do, since the Navy's responsible for the bike path, I've got Chris online tonight and we can do a coordinated effort to bring the military from the different services to set up a day. And as long as you've got, the dumpsters, the trucks, and we can bring the heavy lifting and making sure that they've got good water resistant boots and stuff because it's such a hard area to go work. It's not like you could drive up there with all your volunteers and they can keep an eye on their vehicles. You got to get trucked in that area. But I'm willing to work with you and we'll put up a plan together. And plus we'll get volunteers from the community to help out. We've got to help those residents in that area. It caught me totally off guard, and I didn't hear about it until like 2-3 days later when Charmaine had told me about it. But Vice Chair and I have been talking about this, trying to figure out we've got to fix that area soon. But thank you. Anybody virtually, Vice Chair, anything you want to talk about that? Okay. All right. Looks like we gave enough for you tonight.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. And
Have
oh,
a
by the
great-
way, Jane, we're going to give you a reprieve. We're going to be in recess next month, so you get a break.
Enjoy next month and have a enjoyable summer. Start of the summer.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving along, and we've got Councilmember Val Okimoto. Are you online?
Hi, it's me, Chair.
All right, we got Aaron.
Good
All
evening,
right,
Chair, Vice Chair, board members, members of the public. I'm Aaron with the Office of Councilmember Okimoto. Councilmember would like to congratulate all the graduates and upcoming graduates for this year and wishes them all the best in their future endeavors. The last full council meeting was on May 13th. Some notable bills from that were Bill 8 is going to update the ordinances to better address animal-related disturbances. The goal is to ensure residents can enjoy peace and quiet in their neighborhoods while promoting responsible pet ownership. That reported out for passage on third reading. Bill 34 helps keep Honolulu eligible for the National Flood Insurance Program and Community Rating System. Updates construction standards for flood hazard areas. Council committee continues reviewing departmental budgets and proposed amendments before it heads to full council on June 3rd of next month. Quick community updates. DTS will be installing a no parking here to the corner sign on the Malka side of Kumoana Street on approach to Subway Loca Street. The parking restriction should improve traffic operations in that area. And I did receive an email by one of the board members about the signal patterns. I've sent that over to DTS. I'm still awaiting their response. I can take any questions.
Repeat that, you can repeat that again?
Which part? The signal pattern?
What was the cross street with Ho'omoana?
Oh, I'm sorry, that was Kuamoana on approach to Kawiloka.
Is that Doc Brummer's requirement from this
I
neighborhood?
think that was part of it, and we're still trying to get that amended to more than the 20 feet to the 30 feet.
Okay, good, Aaron. Anything else?
That's it for me. Do you have any questions so I can take back?
Hey, good job. Good job
Perfect.
working this stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody, any board members, any questions for Val Kimoto's office online? Okay, Aaron, I got one thing. If I could ask your assistance with the council member. We had a community cleanup 2 weeks ago on May 9th of Sunset Memorial Cemetery. And we've got probably 120 to 130 trash bags that can be taken to be burned. Is there a way, if you can ask E&V if they can help us pick up those trash bags? I'd greatly appreciate it.
All right, are they sitting at the cemetery
At the
now?
cemetery, ready to go, all on
Okay.
line. And
We'll
please
get
let
on
me
that.
know when, because I'll help those guys open up the gate to get in.
Okay, I'll get on that tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And any other questions? Seeing community, anything? Dan?
Yeah, only partly in just, that we need to build to fix the signals at our favorite intersection.
Oh.
Pomona and Waimana Home Road.
Yes, I think that's the one. I think you emailed me about that. I've specifically asked the traffic signals person, if this can be done. If it cannot, why not? And I want a full actual response, not, hey, we can't do it, or it's, it'll be invasive for other. I want to know, scientifically why they can or cannot do that. So that's what I've asked for.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on to state officials. Mr. Jeff Hickman, are you online? Not hearing him. Casey, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, Casey.
Yes, let me share my screen here. Okay, good evening, Chair Varay and members of the Pro City Neighborhood Board. Keith Yap from the State DOT Highways. Apologize for missing April's meeting, but unfortunately, my workload has increased significantly, which prevented me from attending your Monday meetings. At our March meeting, I mentioned about some new graffiti, but I'm happy to report our maintenance crew painted over the graffiti during my field inspection last week. But the graffiti artists are still out there, so we will work with our maintenance crew to paint over the new artwork. I noticed the homeless is back under the H1 viaduct since I noticed our security fencing was damaged during my field inspection. I also noticed some overgrowth that is blocking the warning sign and pedestrian sidewalk, and a utility box that is missing its cover that is dangerous for pedestrians. We work with our maintenance crew on addressing these problems. At the March meeting, there was a concern from Board Member Weber about the poor pavement along Kamehameha Highway from Sam's Club to Kauka Boulevard and Farrington and Kamehameha Highway going eastbound, especially as you approach the H1 overpass before the Leeward Community College. The Kamehameha Highway from Acacia Road to Farrington Highway is scheduled for resurfacing in 2029. Kamehameha Highway from Kauka Boulevard to the on-off ramp onto the Farrington Highway and Kamehameha Highway has a resurfacing project that is tentatively scheduled for the fall of 2027. On April 2nd, I received an email and picture from Chair Varay about the poor pavement on the H2 freeway northbound prior to the Kauka Boulevard off-ramp, especially the second lane from the median. Due to excessive concrete slab settlement, we tried paving over the settlement with asphalt, but unfortunately our experiment did not work. We informed our maintenance crew to patch the potholes, but we would need to confirm if they completed the pothole patching. We are working on programming a new project to replace the asphalt with new concrete, so we would have to report back at a future meeting. Also on Tuesday, May 19th, I received an email from Vice Chair Duran about the Waiawa stream flooding. I reached out to our district maintenance, but they did not get back to me. So I will need to report back at a future meeting. And finally, at last month's meeting, I mentioned that Chair Viray forwarded me Representative Takayama's March 3rd email from constituent Ms. Bolbe Kim, who lives at the corner of First Street and Leho Avenue, next to the H1 viaduct and our commercial driver's licensing base yard, complaining about people gathering at the base yard late at night, playing loud music and drinking because the entrance did not have a gate. I'm happy to report that I was copied on the email last Thursday that Representative Takayama and Chair Berry also received from my counterpart, Ms. Lee Nagano, who manages our motor vehicle safety office and the base yard. We have immediately increased private security patrols that started this past Saturday night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and will be installing a new 100-foot rolling gate in July. We are reviewing existing electrical plans to see if we can install additional lighting, but we will need to report back at a future meeting. This concludes my report, and I want to thank the Pearl City Neighborhood Board members and the elected officials for allowing me to attend your monthly meetings for the past couple of years. But starting from your July monthly meeting, Mr. Maza Mikura, who is our acting branch manager for our new project coordination and operational support branch, will be my replacement. Maza's email is shown on this slide. As of January 15th, I moved offices. I used to manage the project coordination and technical services branch, which consists of 10 people, while being the highways representative to 7 and previous 8 neighborhood boards. But now I'm managing the highways materials testing and research branch, which consists of approximately 40 people. So my administration realized I could not continue representing 7 neighborhood boards. Since my new office oversees the statewide shoreline program, it was decided that I represent the highways division at these neighborhood boards that are currently experiencing shoreline erosion due to sea level rise and climate change. These neighborhood boards include the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board number 32, the Ko'olauloa Neighborhood Board number 28, and the Kahalu Neighborhood Board number 29. Again, I want to thank the board and elected officials. I can take any questions at this time. Thank you.
Well, Casey, that was all great updates until the very end. I don't think I heard the Pearl City Neighborhood Board approve of you leaving. But if you're getting a promotion and you're going to get more money, have at it. But thank you so much for being so responsive. Probably I can't thank you enough for all the things you have done for us. I mean, every board member has been satisfied with every issue we brought to you. And also thank you because you were gone last month. Thank you for having the fence repaired for the cemetery, for the state responsibility there. It looks good. Board members, any questions? Go ahead there, Rodney.
Thank you, Mr. Abe, for putting up with me and all my hard questions. So we're going to miss you. So just tell the other guy what to expect.
Thank you.
Go ahead there, guy.
Okay, CEO. Yeah, we're gonna really miss you, and thank you so much for going above and beyond, and not just taking care of our area in Pearl City, but some of the H1 potholes that was pretty serious. So, and putting extra material in those areas so that it won't go away, so to say, so easily. So thank you very much, and congratulations and much success to you.
Thank you very much.
I have a quick question. At Kamehameha Highway and Waimana Home Road, in the westbound direction, right before the right turn from Kamehameha onto Waimana Home Road, there's a pothole that keeps reappearing there. It seems like a sinkhole or something. It keeps getting filled, and I appreciate that because I think my car tire can fit inside there whenever it's not filled. It's pretty deep and pretty substantial. I don't know if do you know offhand if there's some kind of sinkhole happening there or what might be causing that?
Okay, I'll check it out and defer it back to my replacement Maza, who will report back.
Okay, and one last thing, Casey, while I was driving my wife to church late this afternoon on Mauna Loa Road, getting on the westbound ramp of the H1, there must have been a large truck that drove off the side of the road, and one of those large 20-inch by 20-inch plates are straight up, and there's a big hole. Definitely a dangerous situation. I don't think anybody's reported it yet. It just happened. So if you can have somebody look at that. And then other than that, anybody online, any questions? Vice Chair? Okay. So Casey, no other questions, anything from the community? Hear none. Don't be surprised if you get an email request for you to be present at the Pearl City Zippies for luncheon paid for by us, because we definitely want to recognize you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jay, but no, you don't have to.
Okay, moving on. No, we're going to keep on legislators because we're almost there. Okay, now we'll move on. Senator Wakai, not here. Got Senator Brandon Elefante. Sir, thank you so much for showing up.
Yes, you're very welcome. Great evening, Chair Beret, Vice Chair Duran, members of the board, and those of the public, those here attending. First of all, I'm sorry I missed you last month, but I know my staff member was here to give a report and updates from follow-ups from the previous month. Online, I have Taylor Sales. She's my committee clerk. She'll be posting our end of session newsletter report, which all of you have a copy. So this brings together our highlights, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. I want to first acknowledge and congratulate all the members of the class of 2026, whether it's kindergarten, grade school promotion, intermediate school, high school, college, trade school, whatever it is. Congratulations to all our graduates. And I know Pearl City High School just had their graduation about a week ago. I also want to take this time to acknowledge Rep. Takayama, who was here last week, and I think he was the only elected official here, as many of us were stuck at the Capitol. But really, thank you. Collectively, Senator Lamasao, myself, Senator Wakai, Rep. Chan, Rep. Takayama, and Rep. Lachika, we all sit on very important committees. Actually, we're very well represented across the board, whether it's on Ways and Means, Commerce and Consumer Protection, Agriculture, Labor and Technology. So I think Pearl City has a really good delegation to represent Pearl City and our state. With that, I just want to highlight a few things on my board report. And there were 5 bills that I had passed this past session. One of them actually was signed today, which is on page 3, which is Senate Bill 2140 relating to county labor standards. And then above that on page 3, if you look at, I'll wait till the loud vehicle passes by. No, that's an ongoing issue. So we do have Senate Bill 3157 relating to transportation. And I know that this particular board and community residents is very much interested in red light and speed cameras. And you've probably seen in the news this past session, we're able to get a bill that would increase it by no more than 2 in each senatorial district location annually. So currently there's 10 now. And so I know there are some areas or locations that Pearl City did make a priority, but if you have any ideas, feel free to write to us and we can send that over to the Department of Transportation. Speaking of transportation, thank you to the board members for your compliments of Casey. Casey, thank you so much for your hard work and for all that you do. You really go beyond the call of duty of what it is to be a public servant, and you really go out and see the various sites and not just see it from emails or phone calls, but you actually go out and do the work. So thank you, Casey. You'll be very, very missed, and the person coming in after you has really big shoes to fill, but we appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you, Senator.
You're welcome. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight a few things on CIP projects. How many of you are familiar with where our Waimano Home Department of Health campus is, by show of hands? Yeah, so many of you who may or may not be familiar, it's at the very top of Waimano Home Road where the Nakasone Center, the Performing Arts Center is, and that's the Department of Health campus. And so with that, this session, we're able to get several $1 million for improvements. So $1 million for construction on health and safety code, 3.7 for building renovation, 1.6 for the Haleola roof replacement, 1.6 million. And then in addition to that, speaking of Red Hill, we're able to get $8 million passed this past session for studies to continuing some of the monitoring that's been done with UH and the Navy. So we're very hopeful that we could utilize some of those funds so that we can continue to test our water in that sense. And with that, that concludes my report, and I'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Senator Elefante, thank you so much for a very challenging legislative session. I know you've always been there for us in every way, and we greatly appreciate it. Board members, any questions for our senator? Rodney?
Yeah, hi, Senator. As I was looking in the paper of the bills that were passed and the ones that weren't passed, so I remember Mr. Hickman coming in for the state and saying that we had a wildfire marshal. So I noticed when the bill had failed for the wildfire funding, would that affect her and her department?
Yeah, so good question, Board Member Wong Jr. So the State Office of Fire Marshal is still there. There was a bill that was passed to give the State Fire Marshal Office positions and reclassify some of those positions. So there's funding on that. The challenge going forward with the Office of State Fire Marshal is making sure to hire for people, and then roles and responsibilities were changed. As far as wildfire mitigation, I don't know if I'll have to check if in terms of if there's specific funding as it does go for that. But I do know that last session, Senator Lamasao and I worked very hard to get fire break setbacks passed to help with the wildfire mitigation and funding appropriated for that. So that funding is still good for this year. But we can check on,
Yeah,
we'll work
that-
with Senator Lamasao to
that's-
check on
That's a
specific
good thing
funding on
because,
that.
you know, like I said, we got 2 seasons now, wildfire season and flood season.
Yes.
So, you know, if you neglect those, you know, especially in the legislature, and that's kind of hard one to swallow.
Yeah, I'll just reassure to you that as delegation, that is a top priority for us. And, we want to ensure that we have, whether it's fire breaks or clearing of debris, part of that state law that we passed last session had to do with state or public lands or private property owners clearing a 10-foot setback to help with that. But you're right, it comes with funding going forward on how we fund different programs and working with our different partners. I know the neighbor islands, they do a pretty good job with that, especially on the Big Island, on Hawaii Island. I've gone out to see it where they have a substantial effort on when it comes to response with that. So
And
that
also-
is top of mind for us.
Yeah, and also with the flooding too. So, I mean,
Yes.
you know, you really need to take a look at that, you know, in all areas, Pro City, Wailua, Laie, you know, all the flood prone areas.
Yeah, and I'll speak just a little bit on the state side. Previously, I was at the county for 12 years, and so a lot of the counties owns a lot of the streams and different areas, but there are portions that are owned by state, in particular State Department of Land and Natural Resources, to clear out areas. And so for those areas, to collectively, the Pro City delegation is working with our state DLNR and partners to clear out areas that are state-controlled areas.
Okay, board members, Guy?
Well, thank you very much for the $8 million funding to support the Red Hill remediation. Excellent. So we have this thing called the RAB, Restoration Advisory Board, which I represent Pro City on. And one of the concerns was that in the IAEA area, where next to that St. Elizabeth Church,
Yes.
that whole area, there seems to have been a well there before, a testing testing well, but they shut it down. So the concern was that since the well is already there, they should reopen it. And then I guess we had some blowback by the EPA people. So you may want to take a look into that because Chief Engineer Ernie Lau had some concerns because of the flow of the plume going in that area. So it'd be really positive and good if they could restore back that testing well. Just FYI.
No. So thank you, Board Member Inouye. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, this was something when I first got into the Senate about several years ago that I pushed for to get a monitoring well at that old Navy laundry facility at St. Elizabeth Church. So that's something that we could ask again. It is federally controlled land that's leased to the church in that particular area. So we would have to get, obviously, the support and concurrence with the federal government in that area.
Right. So the concern was that, I guess, one of the comments that was made last week was that, the test well is there already. Just open it back up. And there was kind of a resistance. We're not sure why exactly, but they're gonna check into that.
Okay. Well, we'll look into that and we'll ask.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody, any board members? Yeah.
Yeah,
Dan?
quick question. On page 2, it says a million for emergency egress, and I thought that money was appropriated last year.
Yes, so that's correct. And so I decided to put this in again this year, because as many of you might be aware, the capital improvement projects are good for 3 years. And so that money has not lapsed. Sometimes people forget. And so it's just a friendly reminder. And I know there was a question that was raised from Board Member Taylor at a previous meeting about ensuring about the 1 million being used. So Rep. Takayama and I are fully aware of that, and we're working with DOT to see how we can encumber those funds to use it for at least the initial phases. Yeah,
Okay.
you're welcome.
Any others? Caius? I didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was like,
Yes.
what's up? This might be a silly
Hi, Board
question,
Member.
but this one Mrs. asked me to ask one of the legislators if it's true. Did you guys outlaw putting dash cams on top of the cars? She said she was following it, and I tried looking it up, and I can't.
Sorry, could you say that again? If
Did
we
you guys-
outlawed
Yeah,
dash
like
cam?
you're not allowed to put dash cam cameras on top of your car. Is it? You still can, right?
I believe you still can. However, I would have to check and get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was saying that she read it somewhere in the news that it's illegal now, or it's to put dash cameras. on
Yeah,
top of your
we'll have to
system.
check.
Okay.
I don't know offhand, so but
Alright.
I'll check and get back to you.
All right. Thank you.
It's actually positioning of the camera. It's not allowed to block the field of vision on the window, the front window. But I think what they're trying to do is have it move back off of the window, and then you are allowed to have it still, if that makes sense. You just can't block any part of the window.
We'll make sure we get the right, whatever it is in state law, so that you have the correct information. But thank you.
Yeah, and keep in mind, board members, the enforcement on this, it's equal to loud mufflers. Okay, anybody online any questions? Okay, and lastly, I want to thank you and Representative Takayama and all the other legislators for supporting the grants for the recovery of the cemetery. I received a letter from the governor last week, Thursday, personally, and he said that he released $150,000 for the next phase of the recovery of the cemetery. So we're making headway there, but thank you all and really appreciate it. And the solar is coming to the cemetery as well.
You're welcome. And I know, even though I don't represent that area, I know a lot of families who are buried there. And so they really appreciate your efforts as president of the Friends of Sunset Memorial, Chair Beret, for your leadership on that. So thank you. You're very welcome.
And you have always been there for us for endorsements. And it's key having your name on that, helping us. But thank you. All right. No other questions, community? Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. And we've got Senator Lamasau. Welcome. I didn't think you were coming tonight. Somebody sent me an email and
Yes, I did have it emailed my board report to you folks. So if that wasn't distributed, I can.
no, I
yeah,
sent it off.
right.
You're good.
Thank you guys so much.
Welcome.
Yeah, So I just wanted to send on my board report, but I do want to highlight a few things. So congratulations to the class of 2026, Go Chargers. And I wanted to highlight the Pro City Interact Club for inspiring our community and their dedication to cleanup, civic engagement, and reflecting the spirit of aloha and the importance of giving back. Myself and Representative Chun, on behalf of Senator Elefante and also Representative Greg Takayama, we were able to present a certificate for them. They celebrated their 3rd anniversary of the club, and we're so excited for the continued work that they will be doing in the Pearl City community. And the few things I wanted to highlight as far as legislative, I know I've kind of like harped on this multiple times as I've started from the beginning. We did get the $800,000 for the shoreline and stream mitigation. So this will allow us to start the work and the conversation with all the different agencies that are involved. And as you guys already have mentioned, your concerns about Waiava, but not just that, but throughout Senate District 19. So that involves all of the locks. West Lock, Middle Lock, East Lock. And we hope to continue this momentum and continue to build more funding and to receive more funding from our federal partners moving forward. And that is what our hope is the 800,000 is basically going to be seed money that we hope to double up with federal funding. So I will keep you folks updated on that as well. And then a lot of residents, as I've been walking around, they've complained about a lot of feral chickens, and that's something that Rep. Chun has brought up numerous times. So we finally got the funding for that as well. So now I see some giggling because, yes, we're not outing chickens, but we're just figuring out a way to get rid of them. Whatever that means maybe, but that was the issue, is that they didn't really have a solution after capturing them. So we've got $50,000 for the city and county of Honolulu to facilitate the receipt, and then also the humane disposal of the feral chickens. I also wanted to highlight some of the tax preservation bill that was just signed last week, Act 24. So this will preserve the tax cuts that were made in 2024. But the Senate also went beyond that and then also lowered tax rates for other tax brackets. And I did include a graphic of kind of an average Pearl City household, what they make. So an income of $118,000 a year. And then their annual savings by 2031 would be $1,239. And then between 2027 to 2031, they will be, their take home will be about it will be a cumulative of $7,326 that they will have in addition to what they're already getting paid between 2027 to 2031. But there are other projects and other bills that you folks might be interested in as you look through my report. But I'm happy to answer any questions you might have tonight.
Okay, thank you for a great update on all those. That quote you had for the average family, 118,000. That's with three jobs on the family. Okay, Guy, go ahead.
So Senator, the $800,000 is just for YAO, or is it all the other streams?
All the streams, yeah.
Yeah, because I had mentioned the policies one.
Correct.
That's-
Yes, so we will be meeting myself, Senator Elefante, and Representative Takayama to kind of go over, there's some interest in wanting to do land management in that area. It's kind of similar to what they're doing in Hei'ia. So that way, when there is like a large storm, such as the Kona lows, the area can retain that amount of water. So kind of looking at systems like Lo'ikalo, things like that, to be in that valley. So it can retain the water so that the stream, so what they did in Heia, that was able to kind of like divert some of the water so that way it's not pulsing as hard coming down the mountain. And so it was able, some of the homes that are in that area, very grateful for them kind of just managing that water.
Because if that bridge ever gets taken out,
Yes.
I mean, that's it for Palisades. There's like 5,000 homes up there. So
Yeah. Yeah, very aware of that. And thank you for always reminding us about that. I know.
Okay, Rodney.
Yeah, also, just going off of what Guy said, I mean, is there a plan with the state to just view the whole island in each district as it sits and see the streams that are there and take a proactive approach onto, what the scenario is going to be if there is a big downpour? And like over here in Pearl City, especially us right over in Momilani, water goes downhill, so it doesn't affect us that much. But when it gets down there, then it affects everybody. And like I said, up in Palisades, that bridge goes out. Mr. Albano only cleans 10 feet on each side of the bridge.
Yeah.
So if it's DLNR, state, whatever, maybe we got to send up those drones, and start mapping out these streams and see which ones need mitigation, cleaning, and start sending them out. So right now we're into the wildfire season. So we got to see what we do to prevent wildfires. But come December, January, even November, we got to start sending out those drones and see what kind of, maintenance they need. And like I told Jeff Hickman, at the last board meeting, let's be proactive on this thing, not reactive. Don't come bring out the big equipment after everything floods, and especially in Wailua, where I told him, the path of least resistance. In Pearl City, we got 3 streams going into one. Unfortunately, it goes underneath, the Sunset Memorial and takes out a lot of dirt over there, but we got it. So what to do in other communities to mitigate that situation to where they don't have this catastrophic damage going on.
So, Brendan, I mean, Rodney makes a good point to use the drones because, you're only seeing the aftermath down here, right? But like, say for example, like in the Mono Valley, where they didn't realize all these trees start falling down, and then in the first Kona Loa, it's pretty catastrophic, yeah. So, I mean, you got to figure how many valleys and streams are up there in that mountain behind us in Palisades is pretty tremendous. So the use of the drones, I think, is incredibly important. So if you can push that.
Thank you, Guy.
Appreciate it.
Anybody online? Any questions? Community? All right, Senator, thank you so much.
I just want to respond to, your comments. This is not just the start, but we hope to continue this. Even, this is kind of more of a passion project because I mentioned this before when I went on the neighbor islands and I saw the work that they were doing, not just in the department, but with community. So, I hope that, we can continue this efforts with all the agencies and also the community and to just have all hands in because you're right, we're an island state and we have, limited resources and so we all have to stick together. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to representatives. Representative Greg Takayama. Anybody online? Okay, here and done. We got Representative Corey Chun. Welcome, Corey.
Good evening, Chair Bure, Vice Chair Duran, board members. So I emailed my report out. It's being printed right now, so I don't have any physical copies, but hopefully you got the electronic version. So the senators kind of shared most of the details, but I just want to highlight 3 things from the bill. So Senator Lamasao mentioned the Feral Chicken Bill, SB 2892, which was actually the idea of Chair Bure and a discussion we had either earlier this year or I think sometime late last year about just the feral chicken problem in Pearl City. So it's a great reminder that we don't always come up with the ideas for legislation. It can come from the community. And this is one where it came from your very own chair of the neighborhood board who gave me the idea and ran with it. And it actually made it all the way through. And it was the only bill addressing that issue that actually passed the legislature. So that's, one example of how we always work together with the community. The other two, and I know we're talking about flooding, but we are approaching hurricane season. And this other bill, it's House Bill 2498. It's something I was working on with Senator Lamasal, and it's basically something to do with emergency preparedness because ever since the Lahaina wildfires, that has been kind of top of mind. And so I think I mentioned this before to the board, but when we were talking about especially people in care homes or our kapuna, we talk about evacuation plans. They're always the most difficult because if you're talking about evacuations for them, you have to make sure that their medications and their medical equipment go with them. The place where they're going to, the shelter has all those things. And then there's transportation, right? So if they can't really walk, you're going to have to make sure they can evacuate safely. And sometimes when there's not a lot of time, the windows are small, it's not very practical. So what the House bill does is it creates a pilot program. And what we're trying to do is look at these foster care homes and figure out a way to harden them so that these people don't have to evacuate. They can shelter in place, which is really what the emergency preparedness folks at Haima recommended, because it's a lot better to make sure they can just shelter in place than to have to uplift them, move them temporarily, and then move them back. So it's just a pilot program. We're just trying to see how it works. Just looking at really shoring up with hurricane clips and things like that, so that now that we're in hurricane season, that these places will be able to withstand high winds and people can shelter in place. And then the last bill I want to highlight is one of my personal bills, and I kind of mentioned this before. It's House Bill 1969, and it's relating to colorectal cancer. And this one, I had to go back in the archives to look at this, but I first worked on it when I was an advocate back in 2012. So 14 years ago is when I floated the first version of this bill. And then it's kind of had different iterations, and I've kind of moved away from it after a while, and then it came back. But colorectal cancer, colon and rectal cancer, is probably the second leading cause of cancer deaths among people under the age of 50. So we're seeing before, colon cancer was something where, age 50 and up, that's when you get your screening, and that's when the onset would usually come with age. But now we're seeing a lot of younger people getting diagnosed at an earlier age. So this bill comes at a critical time because it's really focusing on the people who are either uninsured or underinsured. And it's always that gap group, that all the people who just don't want to get screened or don't want to get treated because they just can't afford it. So this is really trying to help that gap group. So something I'm very happy for after 14 years, finally seeing it come online. And I know there's discussions about Waiava Stream. I'm actually going out to visit one of the farms tomorrow, but I can give a short update now, or I can wait till the other part of should I just do it now?
Yeah, go ahead and give it up.
Okay, so what I do know, first Kona low storm, Department of Transportation, I know there was some jurisdictional issues there. I was working with the Hawaii Farm Bureau, and they reached out to the Department of Transportation. They tried to help clear whatever they could because they had the equipment there. And even though, it wasn't necessarily state property, they tried to clear whatever they could. The last one that we had more recently, so that one, it really comes down to a jurisdictional issue. There's so many different property owners there, not just government, but also private property owners. One thing that was identified is a pedestrian bridge. And there was discussions about actually removing the bridge, but the logistical challenge there is that there is actually a gas line that runs along the same path as the bridge. So it's not as simple as just, removing the bridge. But Department of Land and Natural Resources did put out a bid to have the part in front of the bridge cleared. I believe the award was given and work should start shortly. So it's just the short-term part. The long-term part is like Senator Lamasal said, we really have to also look at the whole entire watershed because it's not just the bridges, but what's coming down from the mountainside, that whole watershed path, that's also causing it. So we actually have to look at it holistically and not just at the bottom, but all the way up to the top. And so that's sort of the long-term goal, is to try to make sure that we can have a comprehensive plan. Also looking at the blockages, but also the entire watershed, and see how we can make sure that these things don't happen again, because I don't want to see this happen again in that area. But I'd be happy to take any questions.
Yeah, thank you. You're absolutely right. Look, as you go upstream, looking at the mountains, you got the albizia trees up there that snap pretty easy. All that debris comes down. And where the biggest problem is with the homeless dumping bicycles, shopping carts, all kind of debris off those bridges, all three, Cam Highway, the bike trail, and then that other pedestrian bridge. That's where it jams up. And the same way with fire mitigation, same way. We've got to control our homeless. I'm really concerned about where the driving range is. We can't have homeless living in those areas with the chance of starting fires, because I can see from Waiau all the way to Momilani, we could have a total disaster with this wind that we have today. That's all it takes. But thank you for giving us an update. Vice Chair and I will be following through and trying to figure this out. As far as the feral roosters, we stay with that. Nobody's doing anything about the cats. The finger pointing goes both ways. But I'm going to tell you, in the next couple months, I've got 35 feral cats that will be removed from Sunset Memorial Park Cemetery. And I don't know where those cats are going to go. I'm looking for home, but there's no place for them. Nobody wants them. But soon they're going to find out where those cats are going to go, especially with the presentation that you're going to hear tonight. Go ahead there, Rodney, and we're going to close out.
Yeah, so, Corey, thanks for that. Two questions. How did that $50 extra spending bill go last year with the seniors? You had a bill last year that allowed them $50 more in care homes to buy different things for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
I know it got implemented. I haven't heard any complaints about it, so I'm guessing, they were able to get the extra $50 for their personal needs allowance.
So the second question will be
2 hours.
8:30. Is there any other means of help that the state can enlist, like the military or even the prison system, where they can help you with, mitigation on these things? Because I remember a long time ago when New Valley was flooded, a lot of prisoners came down to help mitigate the rubbish and stuff like that. So I think, in the looking outside the box, it's there. If we can use it, we should use it. The military is there. They got a lot of equipment that could help out in the long run, and I know they do. So, just maybe open those minds up there down at the square building and, start thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I believe the plan is to explore all options in that area. One of the issues is just untangling the whole jurisdictional issue with the different property owners, and then making sure that, in times of emergency, going in and just doing whatever needs to be done is, usually something that's accepted. But in times of non-emergency, when you're talking about going onto private property, there's kind of issues there, especially with government going on. So hopefully we can get those things worked out and get that area taken care of.
I mean, like with the flooding though, they always think there's a river that runs through. So if the river runs through it, then you better take care of that river.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, like Larry was talking about, homeless situation. Did the funding from the federal government disappear? Because from what I understand, the whole new project may not exist in the future.
For specific cuts to, I'm not sure what.
Yeah, Rodney, the city runs that one.
So.
And there's funding from my understanding, there's still funding for one. They wanted two, but they didn't get the second approved by the city council. But anyway, we got to get moving on. Anybody online, Vice Chair? Any questions for our representative? Okay, seeing none. Community? All right, Corey, thank you. And lastly, for representative, we got Trish LaChica. Representative LaChica there. Thank you, Corey.
She's not, but I am chair. It's
Okay, you're
Tosa.
welcome.
Aloha chair, vice
Just as
chair.
welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I love being here. I will be here a lot more now that interim is started. So we are a one-woman staff right now. But again, thank you for having me. Representative LaChica is unable to attend tonight, but I did want to share a few things with you as we have just wrapped up the super strong legislative session. I'm very proud of our office and all of the things that my staff and my representative have done. We successfully passed 2 major bills and 4 important resolutions. I'm just going to touch a little bit on them, but I will stand on our report. The first one is SB 3001. We've been talking about this throughout the entire legislative session. We worked in collaboration with Senator Keoho Kolole, and this bill establishes AI protections for minors to help ensure safer use of emerging technologies and strengthen safeguards for young people. And the second one is HB 1785. So as you may know, Representative LaChica is Vice Chair of Education, and she works really hard on our buses and getting transportation to our students. And this bill addresses bus contracting to improve transportation procurement, efficiency, and the reliability of service delivery so that can ensure that our students have reliable buses. We also assisted in securing an additional $18.6 million in funding for Kamehameha Highway. I know we were talking about this earlier, so I wanted to touch on this, for repaving between Mililani and Pearl City. And this portion specifically includes repaving from Ka'uka to Waipahu Street. So we're excited to see that. I know it'll be a few years down the road, but there is relief coming. We also wanted to extend a sincere mahalo to Chair, Vice Chair, and all the members of this board for your continued partnership and support throughout the legislative session. I know we sent many emails and you guys always responded to our calls for action, so we're greatly appreciative of that. Your advocacy and participation were instrumental in shaping and strengthening our work at the Capitol. And a very special mahalo to Vice Chair Duran for connecting us to Andrea Diaz and for her support of SCR 162, the Kaiapuni resolution urging the Department of Education to develop an action plan for K-12 Hawaiian language immersion school in Kapolei. We are pleased to share that this resolution was successfully adopted this session. We're very excited for that, and we're looking forward to seeing how the Department of Education implements this. For more legislative information, as I mentioned, our full update is included in our newsletter, which I did send via email earlier. I also dropped it in the chat, so if you have any questions, feel free to check that out. And then on the community side, real quick, Representative LaChica also attended Pearl City High School Go Chargers graduation last weekend, and we will be attending Lehua Elementary's end-of-year celebration tomorrow morning, along with our fellow legislators. Congratulations to all of our 2026 graduates and their families, because they are also a part of it. Y'all did it. And last but not least, a shout out to Casey. We're going to miss you for all of your hard work and support with DOT. I attend 3 out of the 4 neighborhood boards with him, and we will miss your help and calm demeanor. It will be missed. Mahalo again for your time tonight. We look forward to continuing this important work together, and I'm welcome to take back any questions.
Yeah, Tosa, thank you so much. I love your energy, and also big thanks to our board members. A lot of work went in this legislative period. A lot on safety for our schools, for our children on the roads, the crosswalks. The vice chair and the rest of the board members here. Thank you so much. A lot of good testimony went in. Dan, I know I read a lot from you this legislative session. Okay, any questions for Tosa? Okay, seeing none here. Anybody? Vice Chair, any questions? Anybody online? None? Okay, community? None? All right, Tosa, give our regards to Trish for us. Thank you.
Will do.
Okay, moving on to Chancellor Penaloza's not here. Do we have anything from Congressman Case's office, Ms. Fujimoto? Nope. Okay, moving on to presentations. Okay, and we're going to recall Raya Olson up for Oahu Grazers, and she's going to talk about wildfire mitigation using other technology.
Okay, Yeah, we'll just go ahead and go straight to the presentation and then we can do questions afterwards.
Across Hawaii, vegetation grows fast. Across Hawaii, vegetation grows fast. With hotter summers and increasing wildfire risks, many communities are looking for practical, sustainable ways to manage overgrowth. One of those tools is prescribed grazing. Invasive grasses now blanket hillsides, roadsides, and open lands across the islands. They grow year-round, dry out quickly, and cause wildfires to spread rapidly. As wildfire risk increases, communities, landowners, and land managers are searching for tools that are practical, repeatable, and sustainable. One of those tools has been in use for thousands of years. It works without fuel, without engines, and without chemicals, and it's uniquely suited for the terrain and conditions found right here in the islands. It's called prescribed grazing, and this video will show you exactly what it is, how it works, and why it matters for the future of our communities. Oahu Grazers is a family-run business built around our passions for ranching and caring for the land. This work has given us a deep, hands-on understanding of Hawaii's landscapes function and what they need to thrive. I was born and raised on Oahu, and together, my husband Dan and I are striving to help steward Hawaii's landscapes through prescribed grazing. That foundation led us into specialized work: vegetation management at solar facilities, prescribed grazing for wildfire fuel reduction, and regenerative land stewardship across private and public lands throughout the island. Hawaii is our home. We understand Hawaii's specific invasive species, its terrain challenges, its microclimates, and the communities whose safety depends on well-managed land. Every project we take on is informed by local experience, adaptability, and a deep understanding of Hawaii's landscapes. We create realistic expectations, monitor our animals' progress, and adjust as needed. Prescribed grazing is a scientifically informed, strategically planned approach to vegetation management using livestock. It is not random grazing. It is deliberate, goal-oriented, and site-specific. No two sites are exactly alike. We look at the vegetation, terrain, fire risk, and goals for the property, then create a grazing plan tailored to the site, selecting the best livestock approach, grazing density, and timing for the project. The result? Targeted reduction of fuel loads, suppression of invasive vegetation, improved land accessibility, and landscapes that become progressively easier to manage over time. Prescribed grazing is used for wildfire fuel reduction, ongoing vegetation management, regenerative land stewardship, solar facility maintenance, and on both private and public lands. It is one of the most versatile and repeatable land management tools available, and it is especially well suited for Hawaii. To understand why prescribed grazing matters in Hawaii, you have to understand what has changed in our landscape. Invasive grasses, including guinea grass, buffalo grass, and others, have transformed vast areas of the islands over the past century. These species grow rapidly and continuously, curing into dense, dry fuel loads that carry fire much faster and further than the native vegetation they replaced. The result is a wildfire environment that Hawaii's communities were never designed for. Mechanical clearing is an important vegetation management tool, but it also has limitations. Steep slopes, rocky terrain, difficult access, and areas near structures can make equipment use challenging, costly, or impractical. In Hawaii's climate, vegetation can regrow quickly, meaning a single clearing effort may require repeated maintenance to remain effective. Prescribed grazing offers a different approach, a repeatable, low-impact vegetation management option that can adapt to varied terrain and changing site conditions. Livestock can often access areas that are difficult for equipment to reach and can come back to the site again as vegetation regrows. When applied strategically over time, prescribed grazing can help reduce fuel loads, interrupt fuel continuity, and support management vegetation conditions. Every prescribed grazing project is built around a few core elements: fencing, water, animal care, and a clear management plan. Containment planning begins with selecting the most appropriate fencing approach for the site, whether that involves temporary electric fencing, utilizing existing fencing, or in some cases where grazing will be repeated, recommending permanent fencing solutions. Temporary electric fencing is most commonly used to safely contain livestock within the designated grazing area. Where no existing fence line is available, a 3 to 5 foot strip of vegetation needs to be cleared to support effective electric fence setup and grounding. The fencing system is fully portable and designed to minimize long-term disturbance to the land. Water is supplied through portable troughs connected to existing spigots on the property. Because animals draw significant moisture directly from the vegetation they consume, actual water use is lower than most people expect. For sites with no water access, a trailer can be brought in. Animal health and welfare are a priority throughout every grazing project. Livestock are monitored daily to ensure they remain healthy, secure, and progressing appropriately with the grazing area. Where predator pressure or other site-specific risks are present, livestock guardian dogs may be deployed alongside the flock to provide an added layer of protection and support safe operations. One of the benefits communities often notice during grazing projects is the quieter approach to vegetation management. Rather than the noise, emissions, and disruption associated with heavy equipment, grazing occurs gradually and quietly within the landscape. Neighbors frequently comment that seeing animals on the land feels calmer and less disruptive, an important consideration in residential settings. Project timelines are determined by site size, vegetation density, terrain, and management goals, and range from a few days to several weeks. Every timeline is established up front, with clear communication throughout, should adjustments be needed. When prescribed grazing comes to a community, transparency and clear communication are essential. Here is what residents can expect. Temporary electric fencing may be installed in common areas or near adjacent properties, depending on site conditions and containment needs. During livestock delivery and removal, a trailer and related equipment will be present on site. As with any livestock operation, some temporary noise, activity, and mild odor may occur during drop-off and pickup. Goats in particular can be more vocal than sheep, which helps for neighborhood residents to be aware of in advance. Livestock guardian dogs may be present with the flock as a protective measure. When the project is complete, the land will look grazed, which means raw and cleared, not manicured like a golf course. This is the expected and healthy outcome of effective vegetation removal. One community responsibility: please keep dogs leashed near active grazing areas. This protects both our animals and your own. Understanding both the benefits and the honest limitations of prescribed grazing is essential to using it effectively. The benefits are well documented and meaningful. Significant reduction in wildfire fuel loads, even ladder fuels, dramatically lower noise compared to mechanical operations, reduced equipment emissions, access to terrain that machines cannot safely reach, and the ability to repeat the process as vegetation returns. Prescribed grazing also supports local agriculture, generates community engagement and education, and strengthens the relationship between residents and the land they depend on. Prescribed grazing is not a complete solution on its own. Dense woody species like Halicoa may require follow-up because they are strong and fast-growing. Guinea grass seed stems can remain standing after animals have grazed through, because the base of the grass is not as appetizing. In many projects, a combination of grazing followed by targeted spot or mechanical treatment produces the cleanest, most durable result. What grazing does exceptionally well is prepare the land. The animals reveal what was hidden, such as rocks, debris, and terrain variations. This reduces the risk to the equipment and operators who may follow. If prescribed grazing is the right tool for your community, your property, or your organization, here's how to move forward. Begin by identifying priority areas, ideally with guidance from the Honolulu Fire Department or a qualified wildfire risk assessment. Focus on sites that are overgrown with invasive species, difficult to reach with conventional equipment, or in need of ongoing repeated maintenance. These are the locations where grazing delivers the greatest impact. If your community holds FireWise certification through HWMO, the Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization, grant funding may be available to support this and other community work. It is worth confirming your eligibility before planning begins. The most important next step is a site visit. If you can send us a Google Earth map ahead of time showing us the area you have in mind, it greatly helps us to make the most of the site visit. Having a better idea of the layout beforehand allows us to arrive more prepared and make the most of our time on site. Effective prescribed grazing begins with a thorough understanding of the land and project, including site goals, fencing options, water access, vegetation, and overall conditions. The on-site assessment helps determine whether grazing is a good fit and how it can be more effectively applied. Hawaii's landscapes are worth protecting. And the communities that depend on them deserve tools that are sustainable, repeatable, and rooted in this place. We would be honored to be a part of that work with you. Visit us at oahugrazers.com. Follow us on Instagram at oahu_grazers or reach out directly at oahugrazers@gmail.com.
Okay, great. All right. Really good video, great narration, and looks like great impact too. My question to you, where do you get your funding for this?
Some projects have been private, private landowners, but most of them are, I would say, neighborhoods that are funded through HWMO or other fire-related projects. Like right now, I know there's a lot of grants for fire break specific, so they use that for that.
That's exactly what I was looking for city-state grant, because if the Pearl City Neighborhood Board established priorities of areas of Pearl City, that looks like it's really doable to provide. Who would we provide that list to?
The grazing sites, then you would just work directly with me.
Yeah, because to get the funding, be able to do that, I think it'd have to go through the city, us putting in a
yeah.
request. Yes, we'll work with you.
Yeah.
But we'll put a request in that we would like to have this particular area of Pearl City set up for grazing for fire mitigation.
Yeah, so the first thing would be to figure out if you are a FireWise certified community. If not, then starting that process through HWMO with their FireWise community is probably the simplest, easiest way to get started as far as funding. I don't know where all the city grants are at as far as when those fire break and fire mitigation grants need to be used. I know that DOT had to the end of this month to use some of them. And so I don't know if some of the ones that are for neighborhood boards and whatnot are on that tight of a timeline. And so I don't know exactly where everybody's finding the grants. They usually figure that out and then come to me.
Okay, Vice Chair, do you see any potential locations in Pacific Palisades?
I do, and thank you for the presentation. It's really good work. It's a nice initiative, and we hope that the state and the city support your efforts. I just met with NHWO last week, Thursday, and we talked about working with them to try to see if we can make Palisades fire-wise, since we do have a lot of state properties surrounding us and in between us and other areas. And so if we get that off the ground, I'll let you know.
Perfect.
Great. Board members, any other questions? Go ahead, Gaius.
I love this. I love this. I first heard about grazing years ago from Microsoft or Google. Sadly, they fired all their lawnmower guys and they replaced it with goats, sheep to get rid of it, to get rid of the carbon that they do with the lawnmowers. In this climate resistant world that we live in without fuel and having goats or sheep and stuff, this is great. I love it. People think I'm crazy when I say we should use nature to fight nature. Excellent. How much do you cost?
So that's kind of a weighted question. And I know that's the question everybody wants to know the answer to. It really is very site specific. And it's customized to that exact spots, because one place may have fencing already in place that I don't then have to clear manually a strip, set up the fence. I can just almost show up, unload the animals. So it's going to vary. Some places are really small and we charge more like by square foot. Also, that means I'm going to come pick up the animals in 1 to 2 or 3 days. I can't leave them for a couple of days. So it's a little bit more on us on different things. And so sometimes the smaller projects are a little bit more expensive than the bigger projects. Some projects have people that are involved and are living next door or on site, so they can help me with security. And that takes down, they'll send me a link to their camera. I can check stuff out. Or they're going out daily, checking the animals for me. That's cutting down me driving out, those kind of things. And some places are on the mountainside, nobody's going to be there. I got to go there every time. Some places are rocky and we have to deploy animals with like GPS collars. And some is flat. So it really varies. But like in the nutshell, it could be like 800 to 4,500 or 5,000 or so per acre, depending on, you know, how it is, how much. It's just, if I'm sending my crew up on a mountainside, you know, the risk is a lot more. Also, am I next to a freeway or next to a really busy highway with a lot of visual eyes that I might lose animals? Everybody wants to have barbecue next weekend and they come and grab my animals, then that's a little bit tricky and I have to, you know, take care of that risk. I don't hold the landowners responsible for that. I understand that's part of it, but we like to try to keep that part down as much as possible. So, you know, when I'm in the middle of a community, it's kind of scary. You know, their neighborhood dogs they never chased anything before, and there's a little fluffy animal that's bouncing around is super exciting to chase, and so they want to chase. And we can get a lot of damage in our animals from just regular dogs. You know, we've lost 80 animals in a night from 3 random small dogs. So it doesn't matter small or big. Yeah, they can do. So we have to just take into account all that kind of stuff and then what my insurance liability is for that. So
I got a perfect place in Palisades for you. That's why. So I just followed you on Instagram.
hey, awesome. Perfect.
Okay, Heidi?
So I've seen a lot of places around Pearl City where the California grass is 7-8 feet tall. Is that something that these little sheep can handle, or does it have to be cut back to a certain height before they can actually deploy in there?
So they can handle it. That's why we do a combination of sheep and goats. They both have a little bit different grazing behavior. Goats tend to eat a little bit more of the woody, stemmy stuff. They also will browse higher, where sheep will go after more grass and lower things. There is a sweet spot where they're a lot more efficient and effective when the grass is younger or it hasn't seeded out. But they can still definitely handle that. What they're going to do is thin everything out. There'll be some like stalks. You know how it's like bunchy? There'll be like little bunch, like small at the bottom. So if you come back later with a mower or a weed whacker, now you know where it is. And everybody's probably weed whacked wet grass versus dry grass. The dry grass is a lot easier to weed whack and manage. So that's why we try to make sure everybody understands this isn't just like oh, you're putting animals out, you're going to get a mowed, perfectly looking thing. It's the solution. There's a combination of both. But what we're doing is protecting the people and your equipment. Now it's not getting all broken because you're hitting rocks or a car that was buried under all the, you know, I'm buried a lot of very interesting things, but it's definitely going to look more cleared and closer to a mowing effect the younger the grass is. So the buncher 7 foot, that's mature, that's old, but they can still definitely eat it. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Rodney, you got to keep it short.
How did you guys work with the Waialaiki folks?
So the Waialaiki, which was in the visual a lot in that video, there's the neighborhood board who adopted a city and county park that was in the middle of their community, and is a city and county park that's considered underdeveloped, I guess. So the city and county would like mow one little trail through the middle, and the park like slopes up this way, and it's really rocky. There's a lot of different trees in there. There was some native stuff in there too, and so it was just always unmanaged. And they get, you know, in Kalani Iki, right behind Kalani High School, they get a lot of fires up in there, so they were really concerned because it can jump over. So we were hired technically by the neighborhood board, by Waialaiki, but they got their grant funding through HWMO as they were a Firewise community. But I had to get like permission and do some paperwork through the city and county too. But I worked more with the neighborhood board. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions online from any board members? Okay, you got a hand up there for Vice Chair. Okay. All right, community questions? Okay, so what we're going to do is, first of all, we got to talk about being Firewise, Pearl City. We need to be established. And then the next thing is Vice Chair, Rodney and Gaius, you guys got ideas? We need to put together right now, nothing says we can't start our prioritized list of areas we think that it's optimum to use this capability to reduce fire risks. So, but Raya, thank you so much for coming up today. I'll be talking to you on about another possible project later with the nonprofit, and we'll see what we can do. Other than that, no other questions. Thank you very much.
Sure, just a few more things. So Firewise does have like community or coordinators that will come to your meetings and teach you all about how to do it. So they're really, 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 really great to work with. And the other thing I was going to say, oh, now I don't remember. Oh, well, it's okay. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to, let's see here. I planned on giving you guys an update on the cemetery. We're going to defer that to July. We still got improvements going on. Board business, I planned on drafting a letter to Senator Wakai in regard to the legislator taking out the Hawaii solar credits for businesses, nonprofit, schools, communities. It did impact a lot of organizations. There are some discussions going on now with the governor, so I'm going to defer that one for now. We also have on the agenda here a letter that Heidi had drafted on behalf of us to talk about speed bumps. But I did want to say a week ago I got a letter from Director Morton. So we had identified our legislative priorities and also a lot of our own testimony. We needed speed humps at various streets here in Pearl City. So Director Morton came through and said that, okay, we're going to be putting these speed bumps at 2 specific locations. There is some concern that maybe that's not the right place for those. So what I want to do is I want to hold off approving sending out the letter because I think we're going to amend it in some way. But I'm going to set up a Zoom meeting this week, and we're going to we'll have discussion, Vice Chair, with Heidi and Dan, with probably with Ms. Akasaki to negotiate where these things should go. We know the engineers, they know where these things should go because you all heard the news about Maui. They got all those speed bumps in the wrong place. So Heidi, I'm going to turn over to you and what your recommendation was, at least to say where you thought the speed bump should go. I'll read the whole letter, just the point to it where we're going to put speed bump, what streets specifically.
Okay, so the letter that we received from Director Morton specifically was for Ho'oma'imai Street, which is the street that connects Waimano Home Road to Ho'olaulea. It's on the upper side of Pearl City Highlands Elementary, the Pearl City District Park, and Highlands Intermediate School. And they proposed putting 2 speed bumps between, it says Ho'olehua and Ho'olaulea, which is the park and the intermediate school. There are 2 mid-block crosswalks at 2 streets that come down from Upper Pearl City down to that street, Ho'olana and Ho'olehua. Both of those crosswalks are used to access from this upper portion of Pearl City down to the elementary school. This is part of the zoning for that school, and also to the park and the intermediate school. Those crosswalks are used frequently because there's no crosswalk on the Makai side of Ho'oma'imai. And so we wanted to put together a letter for Director Morton to acknowledge that we absolutely support any traffic calming measures on that roadway, but to also request that they reconsider the location of one of the speed bumps to have it associated with one of those mid-block crosswalks to help with the traffic on the Highlands Elementary side of that street, as well as on the Highlands Intermediate side.
Heidi, very well said. And so right now what we'll do is we'll defer the letter, and what we'll do is we'll see if there's opportunity to negotiate those locations. If there is, I'm sure Mr. Morton will say, okay, send me a letter in regard to what you want. But this is not going to happen next week or next month. it's going to be, so we can handle this at the July meeting if we have to, if they need it. So other than that, Vice Chair, anything you want to add to that? Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, moving on. Discussion, recent flooding. We talked about it already today. I'm optimistic that we will get something together. And we've got Miss Chris Tanahara coming on representing the Navy. I think there's an opportunity for the Navy to play a key part in this. We'll get to that in a minute. We're going to move on to her. Committee reports. I heard you, Guy, in regard to the Restoration Advisory Board meeting. Thank you so much for attending that. Is there anything extra you wanted to put out besides what you told Albano?
Well, just understand too that we are working extremely close with BWS as well as EPA as well as Department of Health. So those three entities are extremely well represented and well supported. And right now, I think we have about 12 board members and keeping everybody honest.
Good. Really appreciate it. Definitely making a difference. Dan, definitely appreciate you standing in for us for the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Citizens Advisory meetings. Anything particular you want to let the board know from your meetings?
Just, it's an enormous amount of money over, decades. I would attend, I intend to raise the question about, and maybe do some research about, efficient bus connection to Pearl City Highlands rail station. Because that will really improve the, commuters coming from central Oahu. And also there's one work project at Pearl Ridge for some kind of bus depot. So I need to check that out.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan. Any other committees? Tony, what you got planned for Parks Rec or the Recognition Committee? Anybody that we need to recognize coming up?
None, Chair.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Moving on, other agencies. And I want to thank Chris Tanahara. Thank you so much for standing by. And we're eager to hear about RIMPAC.
Aloha, Chair Vare, members of the board, Chris Tanahara, Navy Region Hawaii. Yes, RIMPAC. I'm not sure if I shared the dates with you last time. Excuse me. But the dates are June 24th through July 31st. And the exercise will include 31 nations, approximately 40 surface ships, 5 subs, 140 aircraft, and more than 25,000 personnel. So it's going to be a pretty big exercise, about the same as 2 years ago, maybe a little bit bigger, but it's going to be a good turnout, and everyone is really excited to begin those exercises. We are looking for community service opportunities for the visiting sailors. So if there is anything coming up around those dates, let me know and we will pass it along to the person coordinating all of the volunteer activities. So again, RIMPAC 24th of June through July 31st. I did want to let you know that we do have an upcoming community legacy tour. So this is the tour that we do of Pearl Harbor and the USS Arizona. That's coming up on July 5th. I'm sorry, June 5th. So that's a couple weeks away. We've got some seats left. So if that's of interest to anyone, please reach out. We would love to host you on that tour. The tour does leave from the Pac Fleet Boathouse at 4 o'clock. Let's see. And then we have resumed our monthly ship tours. So these are tours of ships that are based at Pearl Harbor. I believe we've got one coming up for the USS Daniel Inouye. I have to check on that. But if that is of interest to you, that is every Saturday about 9 o'clock, and the tours, we can accommodate up to about 20 people. So there's a lot of walking, a lot of talking, and a lot to see on these ships. So a really good adventure if you want to take advantage of that. And then finally, let's see, I am pleased to report that last week on the 18th, there was a crew of about 10 sailors who were out on Lehua Avenue, and they were cleaning up some bulky trash that was illegally dumped near the nursery. So they picked up some huge carpet pieces, one mattress, there was some furniture, and a lot of other big bulky items that were illegally dumped in the area. So that cleanup took place on May 18th. And Larry, thank you for bringing that to our attention. That area is Navy property, so it took a while to get the crew out there, but they were out there cleaning the trash, and hopefully, we won't see a pile like that again. So encourage everyone to keep an eye out for, illegal dumping. There are fines attached to illegal dumping if you're caught. And if you see someone dumping, please call the police. But we do have crews who sort of roam the area every few weeks or so looking for items to throw away. And with that, if you don't have any questions for me, I will turn it over to Michelle from Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill.
Okay, thank you so much for those updates. And you did get my email in regard to the volunteers that helped out with the community cleanup of the cemetery. We had 10 Air Force and 10 Navy sailors, 10 from the intelligence unit, from the Air Force Intelligence Unit, and 10 from the medical clinic, and they were just great. So thank you for that.
That's great. That's good to hear.
And thank you for the board members here. Getting a tour on the USS Dananoy is very special. Great ship, great crew, and also, can you keep me apprised that when the skipper is getting ready to retire? Him and I are good friends, and I'd like to be there.
Yes, definitely.
Board members, okay, we'll move on to Red Hill.
Good evening, Chair and board members. I'm Michelle T. Meyer. Degassing on tank 11 continues. Once degassing has completed, the tank will move into a cleaning phase of the multi-step decommissioning process. Additionally, I just wanted to clarify something that was brought up in an earlier presentation. There has been no evidence of plume migration from the Red Hill facility. All of our groundwater monitoring data is available to the public on the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Safe Waters website, if anyone's interested in that. I'm happy to take any questions.
Hey, thank you very much. Any questions on Red Hill? Anything for both our representatives? Anything virtually? Okay, seeing none. I want to thank both of you for sticking around for the meeting. We're actually 2 hours and 10 minutes in the meeting and getting there. But thank you so much, and we're looking for that big shot in the arm for our economy with all the visitors we're going to have for RIMPAC. The Pearl Harbor, the Pearl City, IA, and Waipahu areas, businesses should be thriving during that period. Thank you. And yes. So, okay. Going on to, thank you so much. Moving on to Vicky Bowie.
Good evening, everybody. First off, I'm just going to mention that we'll be closed on June 11th for Kamehameha Day. That's a Thursday. And I know you guys are wondering about our renovation. We are still waiting for the lease to get finalized with Pearl Ridge. So when that gets done, then I'll get a date for you about our closure dates. For right now, we're still waiting for the lease to get approved by the Attorney General. So with that, I just want to mention also that we have our summer reading program from June 1st to July 31st. And I hope everyone is interested and will be registering for our summer reading program, because everybody from kids to adults can sign up. And I say the grand prize is round trip tickets on Alaska Airlines for just to register, and then for all the minutes that you log in or the books that you log in. So that's really exciting. And we also have other prizes and things that we're giving out, like bento boxes and reusable straws. So I hope you guys are interested in signing up for that. You can find out more information on our website, www.librarieshawaii.org, and you can also sign up online. With that, I'll just take questions. Anybody has anything
All right,
to say?
Vicky, thank you, and hope things work out to get your temporary area in Pearl Ridge. I heard they filed Chapter 13 last week.
I heard that too.
So
We'll see how that goes.
So, okay, any questions for Vicky? Okay, hearing none. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Vicky. Moving on to Arlen. Arlen, welcome. I have really good running water.
Good evening, board members. Good evening, Pearl City community. Last month, there were 3 water main breaks to report. On April 2nd, a 12-inch water main break at Waimana Home Road and Ho'omalu Street. On April 20th, there's an 8-inch main break at 2368 Anini Place. And April 21st, a 12-inch main break at 1080 Kuala Street. The general water announcement this month is the Board of Water Supply reminds Oahu residents that rebates for water sense labeled toilets, 1.28 gallons per flush. Again, that's water sense labeled. So water sense labeled means it's EPA specified for water efficiency and performance, and it's third-party certified. The rebates are now available for up to $200 per toilet through the Water Sensible Rebate Program. The Water Sense labeled toilets use 1.28 gallons per flush or less and can reduce water waste by 20 to 60%, saving up to 13,000 gallons of water every year. Rebate amounts cannot exceed the purchase price of the product. The rebate amount was doubled with support from Department of Environmental Services for purchases made on or after January 1st of this year. For more information, you can find it on our website, boardofwatersupply.com/rebates.
Okay, Arlen, thank you very much. Any questions for Arlen, board? Anybody virtual? Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much.
Sure. And Heidi, I have your dye tablets. So yeah, we just missed Detect a Leak Week where you could get them free from.
And keep them away from the dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, I have them labeled "Do not eat."
All right. Thank you, Arlen. Okay, Tony, any updates?
The only update I have is there will be a Pearl City Shopping Center craft fair June 7th from 10 a.m. to 2:30 at the shopping center. That's it. There.
And also, the Pearl City Community Association is looking at bringing in new members, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Tony. Okay, everybody was distributed the minutes for April 28th, 2026. Is there anything that needs to be changed in there? Seeing none, we'll consider written as approved. Okay, moving on to announcements. Yeah, she's next. Yeah. So for announcements, we've got Tara Sutton. Thank you, Tara, for waiting patiently. What do you have to update us on?
Thank you for making time for me. What I would like to share, my name is Tara Sutton and I'm with the Red Hill Registry. We are co-designed with the community and we aim to track health outcomes, inform future research and clinical guidance on fuel exposure, and provide resources to those who experienced the Red Hill fuel spill. Last month, we actually even got to come out to Pearl Harbor bike path near Pearl City Elementary School, and we got to work and clean up the bike path with the Eco Rotary Club. That was a lot of fun. We had like 10 members out there and some family members who joined us. We really enjoyed being able to clean up and help make the safety in the community a little bit better. If there's more that we can do, please reach out and let me know, and I'll get my team organized and we'll come back. I want to take the opportunity to remind the residents of Pearl City about the Red Hill Registry and what we do and why we exist. It's basically three quick things: tracking health outcomes among those who were at risk of exposure to fuel contaminated water, so that we can build a long-term database to support research on potential associations between exposure and health outcomes. We're developing educational materials, which is kind of dual focused. We have education materials for the community members, and we also have education for healthcare providers for their continued education requirements that are specifically training healthcare providers about the Red Hill exposure and clinical guidance that's recommended for what we know now so far about this exposure. And then finally, we work to connect community members with resources in their local areas that they might need. And that resource directory is actually nationwide. So if families have already left Hawaii who were exposed and they're now in Iowa or Alaska, they can still use this resource and find services in their local area. Another big thing that I just want to leave you guys with is the Red Hill Registry is just launched today our second round of community survey and focus groups. We're looking for feedback on how we're doing with our enrollment questionnaires, the accessibility of our educational materials, and our support resources. There's two ways for people to participate. You can do a quick online survey that takes about 15 minutes, or if you're more of a talk story person, you can join me for a focus group that would last about 2 hours. I would really value all the input from people, and I hope everybody does take the time to enroll in the registry. We need everybody who, whether or not you have health impacts, whether you ever did or never did, or are afraid that you might in the future. We need a full picture of what the full community experienced in order to have a good, strong, robust data repository for future research. I'll put information in the chat about where to find enrollment and where to find participation links for the survey if that's an interest. Thank you for letting me speak.
All right, Tara. Thank you for all those updates, and hopefully you'll get some good feedback. I'll be one of those to provide some feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, board members, any other announcements from anybody? I did forget to mention something that I didn't write down before I came here, but you remember the special meeting that I was going to facilitate back in February for emergency disaster preparedness? I'm going to send an email to our legislators asking them to facilitate the meeting in July. That's probably about the best time. We're going to probably see the hurricanes begin in end of July, early August. We'll probably start seeing some things happen. But we really need to do something for Pearl City. We've got to reinforce, fortify our homes, because we all can't fit in a lot of these schools for other locations that we have to evacuate to. So other than that, the Pearl City Neighborhood Board 21 will be in a recess the month of June, so you guys can spend time with families, travel, vacations, Las Vegas. The next board meeting will be on Tuesday, July 28th at Moilani Community Center and virtually via WebEx. The Pearl City Neighborhood 21 board meetings are broadcast on Focus 49 and air the second Saturday at 6 p.m. and the first on the third Friday at 1 p.m. Other than that, I want to thank you all for your dedicated. We're completing a term, so we come back with a new slate in July, and we'll take a look at our executive members that are right now, from the chair, the vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, and reevaluate that. And anybody wants any of those positions, please let the vice chair and I know. We'll make it happen. Take care. Other than that, the Pearl City Board meeting is adjourned. Thank you.